Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce our esteemed speaker, CA Manish Sachdeva, who will be discussing on the topic effective ways to use RTI in taxation.
I request CA Subramanya BL to escort CA Manish Sachdeva onto the dais and welcome him with the book.
CA Manish Sachdeva qualified as a CA in 2016 and possesses work experience of over 7 years in indirect taxes and foreign trade practices. He has special proficiency in areas of merchandise classification, constitutional doctrine and M&A transactions. He is actively engaged in RTI activism and procured numerous decisions. In the span of 7 years, he has filed more than 1,000 RTI applications before various public authorities along with several successful first appeals. With this, we welcome you to the session, sir. Over to you.
Hi, thank you for joining today. Acknowledgement to the Chairman, sir, Vice Chairman, ma'am, Mr. Subramaniam, Mr. Parnaik. Is it better? I think it's so. No, I think it's better now. Yeah. Thank you. We struggle with the technologies, right? Okay, so acknowledgements to all the executive committee of the KSAAA and special acknowledgements to T.R. Rajesh Kumar, my ex-boss, my mentor, and thank you all audience for joining in today. So I won't take much of the time since everything has been captured in the booklet and maybe you can have a chance to go through it. But I'll just speak on 2 points. Why in this current era the RTI as a mechanism should gain prominence and why we can use them. What's the need of this RTI and probably how we as a professional can better use this RTI and make more use of it, right? So the theme of today was, of this session was order and chaos, right? So there is chaos, of course there is chaos, despite all the technological advancement that we have, the GSTN portal, right? The communication between the taxpayers and the tax office being allegedly made so easy, right? But practically that hasn't been the case. If I am filing a particular refund claims and that refund claim is being administered by particularly those state tax officers, it's not easy to get those refund claims sanctioned. And my more difficult part comes in when, how do I come to know which is a tax officer? I'm sitting in Delhi, my claim is before a Karnataka officer, I have actually no means to reach out to him. The portal doesn't provide me any information, right? So what's the source? What's the tool here? RTI. So from chaos to order. Chaos is I don't know that officer, I don't know his details, and therefore I reach to an order that I know his details through RTI. Let's talk about another thing. So as the earlier speakers were saying, the times have changed, right? The businesses have been changed, the tax buoyancy has changed, tax structure as a whole has changed. And right now, the businesses are not looking forward to change their affairs based on employment of a device to, enter into a new manipulation. They are less interested in current market. I don't think we are going to witness any Vodafone for a foreseeable future. I don't think so. That was an exception, very, very good thing that the Honorable Supreme Court did. But I don't think that's going to happen anytime in the future, right? So what's this the businesses are looking for? They're looking for more informed decision rather than deploying a device, right? I'll give you an example. I'm in a medical sector and I need a heart pump. Heart pump is needed for the heart surgery to keep, till the time the therapy is going on, to keep pumping the heart, right? The exemption in the customs notification says artificial heart. In the bracket, it says LVAD, left ventricular assist device. Heart pump is not an artificial device, but it is a LVAD, right? So am I eligible for the exemption or not? Of course, I'll go to my consultants, I'll consult them, take an interpretation, beneficial, blah, 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 right? But just because I'm not falling within that explicit terms of that exemption notification, should I concede that exemption? Should I forget about what was the objective of this notification? Or do I go with industry? And if I want to go with the industry, how do I come to know what the industry is doing? So therefore, RTI comes in. I can check, I can apply through some mechanism, encrypt my application and then decrypt it and understand that what the industry is doing. And then we also have cases like, in this present regime, the tax structure is more about compliance and all, right? And what the government is doing is trying to stop those evaders, the night-by-fly operators, the bogus billers, right? So the two bulls are fighting, the bogus billers and the government. And bulls are fighting, the crop is getting damaged. I, as an honest taxpayer, is getting damaged, right? And to supplement the government is supplementing its officers by giving them all sorts of powers. Increased powers with respect to cancellation of registration, enhanced scrutiny on my credits, more and more conditions on when I become eligible for credit, so many other things, right? So something I should also be having as a taxpayer. So therefore RTI comes in. So broadly, if I say, the RTI is more like a tax tool available to a taxpayer to fulfill some of his needs, to make a more informed decision, to be aware of what is happening. And also, let us say, if I'm going through an assessment, I need certain information which through the normal route I'm not getting, I could probably try through RTI, right? So that's how RTI Act as a whole comes into picture so far as the tax matters goes. Well, I spoke about the indirect taxes, same goes for the direct taxes also. In the assessment, I can get to know which all industries are getting exemptions on the oil and gas sector, so that I can articulate if I am the one who is being differentiated, or is it that other places in my industries are also having the same treatment, right? So that's about how the RTI as a whole comes in from the perspective of tax. The second thing I want to focus is this RTI, can I get everything from RTI? Probably not. It has its own boundaries, it has its own limitations. So my endeavor is I get the maximum benefit out of RTI with my skillful level of conceptualizing, understanding the law, and going to the maximum extent, right? The first part is, how do I draft my RTI application? Two key principles. See, the RTI Act does not provide a third-party information unless it is in a public interest. So what I do is, I journalize my information, ask for information. I encrypt what I want, and then what I get, the results that I get, I will decrypt it to suit my purpose, right? For example, so a certain product, the exemption on which is little ambiguous. I want to understand what my competitor is doing. Is he availing the exemption or not? What tariff he is declaring? What exemption he is declaring? What tax rate he is trying to, he is interpolating while importing the goods, right? I can't ask my competitor specific information through an RTI. That is not possible. So what I will do is, I will journalize my information. I will ask the tax authorities or the CPIO to give me an HSIN-wise report, territory, wherein I will say, I will find the territory where my competitor is located. I will find the port where my competitor is generally importing his goods, right? So I will journalize my information, and journalized information is available. Then when I get that journalized information, I can then go back and decrypt that information and try to get an understanding what actually is my competitor doing. And that can be done in majority of the cases. So the key principle is journalize your information. Second is, under RTI, we can't get any answers for our questions. Why is not an RTI? What is an RTI, right? So if I want to understand what was the reason behind government introducing, say, section 194R or 194O, right? It can't be given to me. It's not happening. We can't get that. No information. The officer are not supposed to provide why to any particular question. However, what can be procured from RTI Act is the particular documents basis which those proposed sections were supposed to be incorporated. In those documents, I could find the reasons why this section was implemented, right? Section 194R, why it was implemented. Because we see various online gaming applications, the OTT players, they are disbursing various kinds of perquisites in kind, right? And not getting taxed. So therefore, to plug that loophole, they introduced section 194R. Of course, that information might have been available in public to me, but now I can get a granular level information as to what was the reason of introduction of this section 194R. So therefore, follow these two principles, probably you can get an answers to majority of your questions. And why these questions? The answers you can use either while advising your clients or fighting off an litigation. In the litigation, we are supposed to produce the evidences before the tribunals and courts as to what was the reason and why so-and-so particular interpretation should be adopted. And if I have that information through the RTI, my case is anyway stronger. So that's about how we generally conceptualize RTI application. Other part of the RTI law is there is a wonderful appeal mechanism. Particularly what the experience have shown is that in majority of the cases, the CPIO or the SPIO as a case may be, they're not willing to provide the information for so many of the reasons, right? And as an applicant, my endeavor should be, I should not stop at the stage of CPIO. I could go to the first appellate authority, which is very easy mechanism. If I am talking about the central law agency, central agencies, then the first appeal also can be filed on the RTI portal online, right? And then we have the Central Information Commission for central law agencies and State Information Commission for state agency. The endeavor is that if you feel that any information has been rejected on a not so good reasons, or you are being aggrieved that this particular information deserves that public interest, utilize that appeal mechanism. It is a very good mechanism, and most of the times the information, at least in some shape or form, is allowed at the appeal stage. And thirdly, and the last thing I'll want to talk about is, under the RTI Act, there is also a right to inspect the records. Not only that you can ask for certain information, but you can check and go and check the records maintained by the public authorities. Why this is generally used is, at times it is not known which officer or in the which file my proposed sought about information is containing. So therefore, I cannot pinpoint as to give me that information to the CPIO, right? In that case, what can I do is, I can ask CPIO to allow me to inspect the records maintained by him. And that could include, I go to my jurisdiction officer who has been stating to me all the time that I don't have your refund applications. I can go to his office and tell him that I need to inspect your records. He will strike out the confidential records other than my files, and I have all the liberty to check if my file is belonging to his office, is being kept in his office or not. And then go back to him that, look sir, this file is available, this refund should be processed. And it has happened in so many cases, particularly in the Bangalore region, that previous refund files have been lost, misplaced, not been provided by the officer, and through RTI, the taxpayers have been able to claim get a resolution of their query. So overall, to sum it up, see, this law is a very open-ended law. Not much guidance is flowing from the law itself as to how do I conceptualize the information, how do I go about the queries that are raised by the CPIO while rejecting the applications. So my advice would be probably first go through this booklet that we have attempted as a KSCAA, and then do your own research, how and in what circumstances the RTI I can use for my clients, and probably to an extent for a pro bono part also. And finally, to conclude the talk here, because in the interest of time, respect the law. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your wonderful insights on how we can benefit from the RTI through journalizing and understanding why certain implementations are in force. I request CA Pradeep Jogi from Udupi to present a memento to our renowned speaker, CA Manish Sachdeva.
A huge round of applause to our speaker, CA Manish Sachdeva.
We have with us the RERA expert, CA Vinay Tyagraj, who gave his expert opinion in the Ask an Expert session. I request CA Kumar Jigjani, past president of KCAA, to present a memento to the expert.
A huge round of applause for the experts who are giving their opinions on various topics that are pre-decided outside this venue.
We recognize the presence of CA Srinivas T, past chairman of Bangalore branch, here with us.